Hey, Alex, a lawyer and a financial advisor walk into a bar.
Oh, and then what happens, Dave?
Well, the question comes up around, the importance of taking time off, like having a break.
Holidays?
Yeah.
What? That's not a word I'm familiar with, I'm sorry. We don't do that anymore post-COVID. There's no more breaks. There's no holidays. We just work 24 hours a day from home, don't we?
Yeah, right. That's why it's meant to be, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's, the thing that really strikes me is that about holidays is that we're in like a different dynamic now. It's like you might be at home all the time, or you might be at home more, but the time that you're working, you're actually working longer hours, but at home. So and you might be doing the washing at like 10 o'clock in the morning while you're having a coffee break. You know what I mean? So like work and not work have just become one. I for a while, wasn't feeling like I was working from home. I felt like I was living at work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Look, I agree with you, and I think that's part of this real mix of this change of that demarcation between, personal time and work time. And I think that's been evolving for the last probably 15 or 20 years, how it just gets so immersed and blended in together. But I think one of the important things around taking the time off or booking in those holidays is you actually need a break. Like there's a lot of research that puts it out there that having that capacity to try and switch off, is a really good thing, because you need to refresh yourself. Because I do think, especially in the last couple of years, there's been huge amounts of fatigue, physical and mental fatigue.
Oh, yeah.
Like
definitely.
It's just a grind, and because you're there, I'll just do it. And people get flatter and flatter, and there's no doubt about it. Video conferencing fatigue is just brutal.
Yeah, and we're in a position where, I don't know if for most businesses, certainly for our business, for a long period, nobody's taken much leave. So leave balances are up, and we're actually facing now, I'm starting to get a bit nervous because I say, well, hang on, everyone needs holidays, and that's important. I totally acknowledge that, but I'm going, hang on, if they all take holidays at the same time and suddenly they're taking a month off.
I might have to do some work.
I might have to do some work. That'd be outrageous. I didn't hire people so I could do work. But they might all take long periods of leave together. They might be overlapping. And, of course, I think it's important to take long periods. You don't just want a day off here and there.
Correct.
You do need the longer breaks. But if they take them all at the same time, or they want to, that it's just a difficult thing to manage and a bit worrying for business owners,
But it's that excitement of getting people to think about. And I suppose this is the importance of the sort of work that we do, is to give people the capacity to be able to take some time off because of the success of their businesses. Yeah. So it comes back to, well, what are you going to do? And is it during school holidays? Is it outside of school holidays? Is it a like a 4-day break? Sometimes for some people, that enjoyment of taking a Friday and a Monday and getting away for a weekend is just like a complete switch off. Yeah. For other people, they need, 2-3 week kind of
unwind.
And look, I know over the years, some people have always said, we take a month off every time we go away, and we go overseas, and I almost leave my phone at home, so they can't be contacted to kind of get away. So I think you've got to kind of find what's important. I mean, I know from our own experience, even in the past Christmas of 2021 into 22, we pretty much shut for a minimum 2 weeks. Yeah. And then a few of us took an extra couple of weeks off. Yeah. I do think those sorts of things are becoming more and more prevalent for people to take. They're shutting their business for a period of time. And it's like, well, there's no one here. So no one can kind of, unless it depends on the business you're in. Yeah. But I do think there is that element that it's very easy to keep working.
Yeah, absolutely. When I started this business, my business, I never took time off. And over Christmas, everyone was off except me, because I was making sure if anyone had any last minute things, they had somewhere to go. And over time, that's become less and less. And as we've been more successful as a business, we've been able to actually push back and say, no, we're not always available for anything, anytime. You know what I mean? Because actually, you've got better quality clients who respect that. And you're obviously you're not yourself as you're able to be more assertive about protecting your own mental health. And that's important. And I think closing a business, or at least having the owner take some time off, so this is as as distinct from the employees taking time off. But the owner take time off is a great test of the business and of how well your systems are managing and how well your team is trained and all of that, so that you can take time off. If you can't take, a couple of weeks off away from your business where your phone's not in your hand, then you got to start thinking about, well, what, is your business, could your business be improved? Are there systems that, it's the ultimate test, being away from the business as how well your business is managed.
But I do think there are also, people have kind of, in some respects, forgotten the importance of taking that time off. One is just to kind of draw breath a little bit, perhaps reassess where you've been and what you might be doing as a business owner, reconnect with family and friends. I think is a really important aspect for a lot of people, because it's been a really tough couple of years.
Yeah.
And so it is that element that says, you know what, we've actually got through this, hopefully. But I do probably want to have a bit of a break and just kind of smell the roses again. And, this is... So, because then the question, if you were to take a holiday, well, what would you do?
Oh, well, I'd go to Europe. That'd be my ultimate holiday. I love Europe, and I'd be on a riverboat if I could, or I'd be, in France or in Italy eating the pasta.
So you're on that sort of, the western side of Europe, not.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. That that's the first thing that comes to mind. But I got to say, I do, because work becomes your hobby.
Yep.
Work becomes, it's sort of all consuming. Sometimes your interests and you don't have much else to do. And I've in the past, taken days off to try and recharge, and I've been twiddling my thumbs to the point where I just check my emails to the point where before I know it, I'm working again.
Yep.
And I think a lot of owners fall into that trap, that you actually don't have much else in your life to, there might be a push away from work, but something else needs to be pulling you to.
Correct. So you've got to get that hobby or an interest
or a passion.
Something else that gives you that a reason to say, you know what, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I'm going to go do that. Going to go drive to Yarra Valley, or I'm going to go paint a picture, or whatever it is.
Race motor cars, or sailing, or And I think that's where you this is where I suppose the importance of taking time off is a topic for today. It's not just holidays, but it is that ability to kind of give you that chance to get away from the grind of a business, because it can be just brutal sometimes.
Yeah.
Other times it's just fantastic and everything floats along and you think, oh my God, how good's this? This is just fantastic. Everything we seem to be touching is turning to gold.
Yeah. It's absolutely, if I was to tell, someone else what running a business is like, I'd say that's it. It's the up and down. Sometimes you just think this is it. Yeah. I've cracked the code.
Yep.
Capitalism's really good.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. And then other times you think, this is the worst. Everything's my problem.
Yep.
So it's an up and down thing. But that's that's life, right? Life's up and down. It's not all good times and all bad times, and it's the experience of it that's exciting.
So when you see people come back from holidays inside your business, do you see them coming back with a I suppose renewed energy?
So it's been quite a long time since anyone's had, we did close over Christmas like you, but I'm not, that's sometimes not quite the same as, when they've gone away on a holiday themselves. And in the past, I certainly have, and not just renewed energy, but renewed ideas. Sometimes that's that separation from work that made them go, you know what, I've been doing my job this way, and actually I think we could, all this stuff that I do could be outsourced, or all this, there's a better way of doing this, and have some insights. And that's happened to me. I've gone away before and just been, away for a month, overseas for a month, and come back really, and just the things go to the back of your mind, or whatever it is, the expression, you mull over them. You don't think about them actively, but then you sort of come to some realizations. And I came back and implemented a bunch of stuff basically to get me less integrally involved in every aspect of the business.
Yep.
And and in fact, the month I remember, the month that I'm thinking about was the most successful month we'd had in a long time. And I wasn't there. So what does that tell you?
Yeah, well, there you go. I think you need to take holidays more often.
Yeah, well, it shows that I thought I was more important than I was, and I think sometimes I think I'm helping.
So you blow wind into places that you probably shouldn't.
Yeah, well, and the team have sort of more or less said to me, "Can you stop meddling?" You know what I mean? They don't say it like that because they're
respectful,
very diplomatic about it. Yeah, but sometimes I think I'm helping, and I'm just rejigging the way they would do it, and the way they do it is great. They were involved in whatever it is that's happening, and so they know how to handle it, and I just get involved and they do what I tell them to do, which is slightly different, but no better, or maybe worse. And so, I think...
And this goes back to the importance of having some form of activity or interest that's outside of the business, because if you have that level of confidence that the business is functioning without you there, you actually don't need to go away overseas for a month. You might like to, I don't know, restore a car.
Yeah.
Or you might like to, do some sort of charitable pursuit that gives you a day a week that you like to dedicate your time to, I don't know, aged care or men's shed or whatever your interest might be, that kind of you really enjoy that aspect, and it gives you an element of fulfillment. And I do think that that's a really important thing for a lot of people to kind of get jolted to sometimes.
Yeah.
That it's like, no, there is more to life than just the grind
of
work.
Yeah, well, I've got an example for you. I recently really started having lunch with my dad, who's 80, on a Wednesday afternoon. We just had lunch together.
Yep.
And, I'm able to take 2 or 3 hours away from the business. That's fine. And that's just quality time, myself and him. And we're a big family, so we'd often, you don't get just the two of you, don't spend a lot of time together. There's all sorts of other people there, and they've got their kids there, and it's all a big, a big mayhem. Tribe. Yeah. It's mayhem. Yeah, that's right, which is good in its own way. But, and the two of us just have lunch together, and it's absolutely fantastic. And, the reality of life is that I won't have the chance to be having lunch with him forever.
Yep.
And so to take that time away from work to do something that's much more important and that is much more time critical. I can work anytime, right? And I can work for the next 20 or 30 years if I want, whereas I won't be able to do that for the same period. And so it's just, and I don't know why I didn't do it 10 years ago,
Yeah, but I think part of that is confidence in your own ability, confidence to know that the next deal is going to come through. There's a whole range. I think that's maturity as well along the way, that it's like, well, you know what, does it matter if I need to take 3 hours every Wednesday? Because that comes back to, it's not taking time off, it's just reallocating the 24 hours in your day that you...
Well, that's right, yeah. I mean, I can work in the evening if I need to, or I can, get up early or work on a Saturday if I need to. Hopefully I don't. But yes, that's right. It's just a rejigging of your kind of priorities and your allocation of time throughout the week.
And this is a really interesting one, because everyone's, I don't have time. Everyone has 24 hours in a day.
Yeah. Well, the quote I like is that they say you've got the same amount of hours in the day as Beyonce.
Yes.
So if Beyonce can do it, you can do it. That's
absolutely.
my motto.
And then this is where it comes back to when people start to look at it. It's sort of, how are you allocating your time? So therefore, don't work out what's important to you. Don't wait for people to put things on your list.
Yeah. That's just being a slave to your emails or whatever.
Whatever it is, it's like, no, these are the things I want to achieve for today or this week. Yeah. And the rest of the stuff, yes, I know they're on a list and someone wants me to do it, but it's not important to me. So therefore I need to do that, which is, I think that becomes a really tough position sometimes, because you've got to have the strength to be able to say no to someone.
Yeah.
And that is a really hard thing, because every time you say yes, you've got to say no, 50 other times.
Yeah, that's interesting.
There'd be a bloody good reason to say yes.
Yeah, a colleague of mine said, which I quite like the idea. They said you've got to have and it might have been you. I think it was you.
Let's see what you say, and then I'll claim it, or I'll distance myself from it.
You've got to have a to-do list, nothing wrong with that, but you also got to have a to-not do list.
Correct.
Did you tell me that? I think it was you.
Yeah, I put a message out about that. What's your not to-do list?
Yeah.
So write the stuff down. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So therefore, and this is where it comes across your own business as well. What's the stuff that I'm really good at, and what's the stuff that needs to be done, but I'm not really good at doing? Yeah. So it comes back to the really interesting book also that's out. That's it's who, not how. Who can help me do the stuff? I don't need to know how to do it, but who can help me do it? Yeah, and that's where it comes back to. That's where you end up narrowing down and go, really good use of my time is this. Now, part of that time away, maybe having a break to let your mind think.
Yes.
So I don't know. I cannot remember the name of this person, but their point was, they said, well, they pay me to think. And they would walk into the office and this bloke would have his feet up on the desk and
thinking away.
And it's like, wow, like really? But he came up with some invention that made hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is what we're paying him for.
Right.
You don't need to be looking busy and running around frantically the whole time to be productive. Yeah. That's not being productive. Sometimes you do need to switch off and go, you know what, I just need to go out for a walk. I need to go to lunch for 2 hours, because the discussion that you might have had an idea in your head that you float past your old man.
Yeah.
And he then says, what about this? Because it's a completely fresh set of eyes and ears on your issue that, like, oh my God, and it just bang, the light goes off.
Yeah.
Purely because you've allocated some time to talk to someone and to spend some time with someone who is completely removed from what you're actually thinking about, but they come up with a completely fresh set of ideas.
Yeah, well, I can give you an example of that, and it was from spending time with Dad. We're on holidays together, and I was saying something about being very busy because I'd hired more team members, and he said, and it's simple but wise. He said, well, the more people who work for you, the less work you should do, and I said, what? I was the total opposite in my assumptions. Sort of the more people I've got, the more people I need to look after, the more people I need to mentor, the more, problems I need to solve, all of that. And, of course, that's you're on a hiding to nothing then, because the more people you hire, the bigger your business gets, the more you closer you are to having a heart attack when you're 50. And we all know that that's something that seems to be going around at the moment.
Correct.
And it really hit me like a ton of bricks as just a great idea that it was the beginning of me really putting in place systems and processes so that the team would manage each other, you know what I mean, or manage the business themselves, and hopefully I could just do the high value things that I liked and that I was good at, and stop meddling in everyone's affairs.
Yep. So if we go back to the sort of the topic of the importance of taking time off, what do you encourage with your team? And I know you've sort of said in the last couple of years, it's been a bit hard, but how do you encourage your team to put their hand up to say, I actually want to take 2 weeks off, or I need to take some time off, or people to come comfortable to you to say, look, I'm not coping at the moment. I actually need, even just a day off.
What I've noticed, and I'm not sure if this is, representative of everyone, but they all seem to have a different dynamic of how they like to take time off. So some, like to take long holidays, and some like to take lots of short ones. Would rather go to the beach, have that long weekend, if you like, a few times than go off, to Europe or whatever.
Yep.
And so, some they want to go and spend time with their husband or wife, and others want to go and do their own thing or whatever it is. And I guess we do is try and encourage people to do the thing that they find recharges their batteries. Because I would pack everyone off to Europe for a month, because that's probably what works for me the best.
Yep.
But that's not, we got someone who maybe doesn't want to go overseas, likes Australia or likes long weekends or whatever, likes time on the beach, as opposed to time, traveling around or whatever. So we just try and get people to do what it is that they like to do.
Yeah, because it also comes back to the time of the year. Some people love to go to the cold weather to ski versus, the hot weather.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So everyone has their own kind of dynamic of what they want, and, you can't sort of force it on them. You got to let them do their thing, or at least that's my thinking anyway. I don't know if that's working or not working. Is that what you find, or?
Yeah, I just think, we tend to have people that are working with us that are have families. So where our challenge is always around
school holidays. Yeah.
And trying to work through that. But also from a client base, that's a lot of people are also taking time off with their family at the same time. So it kind of, we manage, but it's probably always a bit of a challenge. There's never a perfect time, but then sometimes, if a few of us are away, then sometimes I've got to pick up some stuff when we're on holidays. But sometimes that can just be, a couple of hours or an hour in the morning, and then I'm done for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah,
not ideal, but you know what? You own the business. There's certain things. Sometimes you just got to do it, and it's not. I mean, it's not really seen as a chore. It's just like, no problem. I'll just redirect a bit of traffic, and I'm done for the day.
Yeah, and that's relevant to the topic, which is, switching off, taking holidays. I know when I did this month in Europe that I'm talking about, I actually, every morning I got up at, 6 or whatever, an hour earlier than I normally would, and checked and spent an hour on the emails, doing stuff, and then closed the computer, and that was it for the day.
Yep.
And I was perfectly happy to do that, and I still felt switched off. It didn't stress me out. I was, in Europe, so I was then walking out into, Paris or wherever.
Yep.
So, that was pretty good. And to have to be able to do that, still own the business, and only spend 1 hour every morning, and it helped the team a lot, because then whatever I sent out, they could. I think they were sending me stuff, and it might have been the mid-afternoon when I was answering, so they could send me stuff during the day, and I could check it, and they could have it before the end of the day.
Yep.
So it sort of worked well. That said, I think it's important to also have time off if you can, where you incommunicado, where your phone's in the cupboard or whatever.
Yeah. Which is going to be, in some respects, we're almost at Easter. 2022, and so that'll be, Good Friday and Easter Monday. They're just like bang. That's a solid 4 days of you can almost switch your phone off and not even worry about it.
Yeah, well, and thankfully, generally, I know our clients and yours are a bit the same. We sort of tend to have the same sort of holiday schedule that we do. It isn't so bad. Sort of depends on the business, though. We've got plenty of clients who, they're manufacturing stuff that still needs to be manufactured.
Yeah, and it's always, there's no real shutdown. They're just...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They've got 3 shifts who just keep going,
Yeah.
So...
All right. Well, is there anything else you want to add? I just think, for us, it's I think we've picked it up that there is an importance of dedicating time to blocking out where you have some downtime and away from your business. And I think it rejuvenates everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, all I'd say, I suppose, is that you want to encourage your team to take time off in a way that suits them and that they feel they can, and put processes in place so that they can share the workload while they're gone, and then same with the owner themselves being able to take some time off and doing that. I think that's all good training to run run your business well. If your business is run well, people should be able to do that. If they can't, that means the business is not run well, and so you've got to, that's a bigger problem that you should be addressing.
It's a good litmus test for yourself.
Absolutely, that's right. If you can take time away from your business, then that's good for you and good for the business. And if you can't, then you need to think, well, why can't I, and what changes can I make to address that?
Yep. Okay. Magnificent. Well, solid again, Alex.
Thanks, Dave.
Get ready for that holiday. Just give yourself a bit of a break.
Yeah.
Grow the hair long and take it.
I never need to work in it.
Yeah, correct. All right. Well, we'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks, Dave.
Everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.